Have you ever been asleep on a forest floor and you are just suffocating with hot air and you feel the wind outside your shelter, or maybe it like sort of is catching your shelter and you're thinking, oh, I just need some air, I just need some air. What's up guys, Dan here, Coalcracker Bushcraft. So airflow, we're going to talk all about it today in a way that you can set up your shelter to gain airflow. And then if the rain does come in and you want to be protected, it's literally just a slide and a pull and you are protected again. It's awesome. I love this shelter setup. So most of us know what this is here behind me. It is the good old lean-to shelter, and if it's set up correctly, it will protect you from almost any foul weather. Now, typically when setting up this shelter, the back of the shelter, okay, my back is the back of the shelter, is where the wind is going to be coming from. So weather and storms would be going in this direction. You would be facing opposite, which you can see here is my opening. I'd be facing outward. That is going to protect us from a driving rain. It's also going to protect us from wind. All right, we're letting the shelter do its job. But typically, if we set it up correctly, we're blocking the wind. So there's a really easy way that you can adjust this thing in the summer months to actually gain that wind and allow that wind to just pass by your body and keep you cool all night. And then if it starts to rain, we can quickly adjust it back to this shelter. So let me show you what we need to do. Step one, we are going to set up our ridge line and set our tarp up in a lean-to configuration off of that ridge line, kicking it backwards, again, back towards the wind. Now the next step would be to stake out the backside. So we want the tarp to be as taut as possible before we pull up the loft in the center. So to do that, we would grab our corners, we would pull them away from the ridge line and this first one diagonal, creating lots of tension in the tarp. Okay, and I still want you to do that. But then from there, what I want you to do is get your tent peg and I want you to go in about 6 inches. I don't want you to go inward that way. I just want you to go in as if you're going towards the center of the tarp. Then you're going to continue that process on the other side. So what you're going to see at this point is that the tarp looks really saggy in the middle here, and that is exactly what you want. Next step now is to tie off your middle tie out that's going to gain the loft in your tarp. And then you're going to pull it super tight. Now when you do that, something silly is going to happen, something that you would typically not want to happen, and that is this back section is going to be super saggy. You can see how that drops down. Now, one word of caution with this. You can pull this so tight that the top section of your tarp goes flat. You don't want that. You got to make sure it still angles backwards, okay? Now we move on to the final cool step. So the same as your ridge line, I want you to put a prusik loop on this back tie out. But this prusik loop is going to be slightly different. One side of that prusik loop is going to be super, super long, and it's going to come down to a little loop, a little bowline loop, okay? We want to be able to adjust this up and down the line with the loop on the end. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put this loop in our center loop. So this is the saggy section of our tarp, closest to the ground. I'm going to put that loop in there and I'm going to simply toggle it off. And then I'm going to slide my prusik away and watch what happens. And you guessed it, we created an open back section of our tarp for airflow to suck through, wind to blow past us, and keep us super cool all night. So now a little quick inside view. You can see there's lots of airflow that can come through that. It is very open. You can easily adjust that by sliding that prusik line up and down, and that's going to drop that back section down or lift it back up. And here's the best part of this whole system. Rainstorm starts to roll in. Of course, it's going to be coming this direction. Wind's blasting in this direction, and you want to get more protected. Simply reach your hand outside of here, pull out the toggle. It will drop right down. Hold on to your toggle for the next morning when the weather clears up. Your prusik loop isn't going to go anywhere. It's attached to this rear line, and you are well protected. And there you have it, a very cool setup, literally, like a cool setup. Get it? Wind's blowing through. Something that you can do just on the fly quick. You're doing this whole setup anyway. You're literally just changing the 2 tent pegs and adding 1 extra prusik, and you can have this too. It's like the Holiday Inn, maybe even better. What's better? I don't even know what's better than a Holiday Inn. Some high-class hotels, what it's gonna be like when you sleep in this thing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Another cool shelter setup. I love shelters, I love cooking systems, I love eating in the woods, I love drinking a beer, and that means like it's beer time. That's why it's on my mind. So I gotta get going. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the link below, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. And yeah, check us out at coalcrackerbushcraft.com. Until our next video, you stay in the woods.